We're going to talk about our tandem coaching guidelines. So you might have two coaches running a class, maybe one's a lead coach, one's an assistant coach, or you just have two even-leveled coaches working together. What we want to do is have some standards at our gyms to make sure that we're getting the most out of those coaches and they're working as a team, not just near each other, all right? So one is discussing the work distribution before the class starts. So maybe I get with my coach and say, hey, you know what, I'll do the warm-ups, and then why don't you lead the whiteboard brief for the squats, and then I'll lead the barbell progressions on the snatch, whatever the case might be. Having that communication, having that discussion a couple minutes before class doesn't take very long, and it makes sure that everyone's pulling their weight. What you don't want is ambiguity there, someone running the whole show while the other person's off in the corner. You want to make sure that your coaches are working together, they have a plan and a strategy to make that hour as effective, as efficient as they can for each other. All right, while one coach is leading the progressions or the whiteboard briefs, the other is working with troubled movers or working out upcoming logistics. So as an example, say I got a big class, say I've got 30 people that showed up to my group class, and I got one coach leading the movement prep. We're in a circle, we're doing our jumping jacks, our DROMs, our movement prep. The other coaches are just off in the corner picking their nose. They're counting how many people they've got. Do I need to split class in a certain way? How many people I may need to pair up on the barbell? Do I have enough racks to run this in a certain way? So the second that coach finishes the warm-up, the other coach can double back and tell them, okay, we're gonna need to split them up this way, or I'm gonna be able to take these people over to this side, whatever the case might be. But you always wanna make sure that you guys are working together. While one coach is in the moment working the class, the other might be thinking two steps ahead to make sure there's a seamless transition into the next segment. Similarly, if one coach is leading a barbell segment, the other one's not just hanging out, watching everything passively. They're going to walk around. You're giving people little points of contact about their movement. Make sure that person who looks confused and scared is getting a little extra attention. But again, we want to work together as a team to make sure that one is working to the whole class, and the other might be kind of finding individuals who need to be triaged and helping those people to make sure they get the most out of their class. Divide large classes into zones for each coach to manage. So what we like to do at our gym, often we get big classes, which is one of the reasons we got two coaches on staff for every class. Say we are squatting and we break the gym up into maybe there's 8 racks working. I might say, okay, I'm gonna take these 4 racks, each one with 2 to 3 people. You're gonna take those 4 racks, each with 2 to 3 people. And what that does, it takes a big class and it kind of makes it feel like a small class. So instead of me kind of ambling about, wandering around, hoping that I touch base with everybody in that class, instead of having 30 people to look at, now I've got 15 people to look at, and I can give them more progressive cues and corrections throughout that segment. And I'm working and I'm seeing the same people, I'm seeing if they're adjusting to my cues versus hoping that we covered everybody. What that does, it makes sure that everyone gets enough eyes on them. It makes that coach see that, are those people moving correctly? Are they taking the instruction that I gave them earlier and working with that? Now, obviously, you can ask the other coach for some advice or, hey, what do you think about this? But what that does, it makes it feel, a big class, feel like a much smaller class or 2 small classes, really. If class goes over, one coach will start the next class. We talked a little bit about this in our timeliness episode, but if a class is going over, you got a long workout on the books, again, we start classes on time at CFSBK. The second it turns 8 o'clock, the 8 o'clock class starts. So while one coach is kind of finishing out, keeping their eyes on the class, the second coach is going to go, they're going to grab the next class and get them started on some movement prep. I don't want to abandon a class that's in the middle of a workout or finishing a workout to start a new class, and I don't want to let another class hang, shuffling their feet, looking at their watches, waiting for this class to finish. So we work together to make sure that every class starts on time, even if one of them goes over. So just a couple strategies. It really comes down to communication. Figure out what the expectations are for you and your coaches. Make sure that there's a plan and a strategy so that everyone is working together and that there's no hard feelings about, hey man, this coach really steals the show every class, or this coach doesn't do anything, they're kind of in the back lingering. You want to make sure that everyone's working together so that we can work together and get the most out of every class. All right, cool.